Hello everyone, welcome to my The Way Home official channel. I hope everyone is having a great day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. While on the phone with Brady, Kat drives about in a panic, trying to find Alice. Brady regrets not informing Alice sooner about Rachel. Kat is having trouble breathing. She thinks that the past will recur. Brady comforts her and tells her that Alice will come back. Dell, who never appears to be fazed by anything, is also out by the brink of the cliff looking for her granddaughter. In 1999, to be exact, Alice strolls through the woodland with teenage Elliot. Alice is adamant about returning to the present. Elliot, who is a teenager, doesn't think she has traveled through time. When they go to the edge of the pond, Alice tells him that she hopes he will believe her when she jumps in and doesn't come out. He watches her go under the sea, and she leaps. He hesitates for a beat before losing his mind. Did she pass out? He dives in after her, only to rise again. As an adult, Elliot sits on his porch and enjoys coffee while remembering special times he spent with Alice when he was a teenager. From a distance, he spots her making her way back home while racing over the fields. Dejected, Kat pulls up to the farmhouse. She thinks back to the past tragedy as she walks by the porch. She remembers Colton consoling her when she was a teenager. The Landry family should never give up hope, Colton advises her. Kat notices a trail of water droplets inside the house. She follows them upstairs, which takes her straight to Alice. Relieved, Kat hugs her and attempts to explain where she's been. Alice apologizes and explains that she was attempting to get home. Kat interprets that as an attempt to return to her father Brady's house. Kat won't listen to Alice when she informs her that isn't the case. She gives her a severe rebuke. Having recently seen her mother in a more contented state 2 decades prior, Alice begs the question of what happened to her. She is grounded by Kat. She meets Dell at the kitchen table downstairs. Dell reaffirms to her that Alice would return home. The other teenagers at school learn that Alice has gone missing. Spencer and Zoe reassure her that they are happy she's okay, and that they will be there for her if she needs them. Spencer shows Alice a photograph of an old snapshot of Teen Kat and his mother Monica on a beach. Spencer wanted to show Alice what his mother had shown him. Dell and her friend Rita are back at the property, standing in the yard. Rita is still in shock that Alice vanished. Dell is asked whether Alice knew what this would do to her because she knows she went through a similar experience with Jacob in the past. Dell abruptly ends her conversation, telling her that Alice has returned and that it's time to move on. Rita is unable to. She believes Dell shouldn't be so naive as to believe that just because Alice and Kat are residing with her, her life won't provide difficulties. Dell has worked far too hard to heal from her past for them to undo all of it. Dell explains that the reason they are there is because someone sent Kat a note. Despite Rita's assurances that it wasn't her, Dell remains doubtful. Inside, Kat looks again at the Teen Kat and Alice picture that she had on her nightstand. She is unable to identify Alice. Brady calls to inquire as to whether Alice has made a comeback. She's in school, yet he still wants to talk to her. Kat regrets not getting back to him sooner. She informs Brady that maybe going back to Port Haven wasn't the best decision and that she's thinking about going home. Brady says he's been talking to a publisher who is interested in Kat's work, so there might be a reason she stays. They want to give her a book deal, so she may write about the tragedy in her family. Brady wants to help Kat, but Kat doesn't understand why because they aren't together anymore. She rejects his assistance. Brady requests that she consider it. When Alice goes to the school to look for Elliot, she finds him with other teachers and insists they talk about last night. Alice gets a warning from Elliot to watch how she approaches him in public. She apologizes and puts the blame on her panic attack. They learn that they are both aware of the time-traveling secret. Alice questions why. If her mother knew her as a teenager, she doesn't recognize her now. Elliot informs her that recollections are erratic. Additionally, he informs Alice that time travel is solely useful to her. She must plan her trips carefully in order to avoid leaving her family worried these days if she is gone for an extended period of time. Alice informs Elliot that she had met Jacob and that she was struck by his uniqueness. Kat rummages through her brother's belongings in Jacob's room. Dell cuts her off and instructs Kat to store those memories. Dell adds that because she doesn't have a job, if she's not going to move out and go back home, at least figure out how to be useful. Kat walks inside the Point Cafe, where her old friend Monica works, carrying Dell's honey jars. Over time, their friendship soared from when they were once close friends. When they finally catch up, Kat finds out that Dell arranged this meeting and that it's actually a job interview. Feeling ashamed, Kat tells Monica that she doesn't need a job because she has received a book contract offer. She just needs a pen and paper so she can get writing. After giving it to her, Monica disappears to write. Kat questions Dell during dinner about telling Monica that he doesn't have a job. Dell claims that she only wanted to assist. Kat announces that she has signed a book deal to write a book about the history of the family, which includes Jacob. Dell says no. Alice is determined to find out for sure what happened to Jacob and how he vanished. This isn't the right moment, in Kat's opinion, to get into specifics. They used to be such a joyful family, so Alice is shocked by the chilly environment. Elliot and Kat cross paths in the laundry barn. Kat leans on his shoulder as they sip their wine and asks whether he recalls their acquaintance Alice. Elliot gives a nod. Kat reveals that she has an old photo of them from 1999, but Alice is out of focus and hard to see. Elliot feels a sense of relief. Alice looks up information about Jacob on the internet, but finds nothing. Her dad answers the phone when it calls. Alice doesn't believe Brady when he tells her he's been anxious because he never asked her to come home because Rachel is there. Brady assures her that there will always be space in his home for her. Alice chokes back tears and ends the call. Her Google search never comes up. Alice goes to the pond to escape the present, even though it is dark outside. She dives in, vanishes, and then reappears. She plunges in one more but comes up again. She freaks out and asks why she isn't getting taken back to 1999 like she usually is. She returns to the shore, gasping for oxygen, and starts to cry. Alice heads back to her house. When she first sees Dell, he's taken aback by her early wakefulness. Together, they head to the farmer's market after she gives her a box of vegetables. Many customers give Dell a hearty greeting as she sets up her kiosk. Alice sees how much of a local fixture Dell is. The Herald newspaper's Byron Broff walks up to Dell's booth prepared to buy. Like her younger self, Alice notes how much happier and more fun Dell is around town. She's not as content with her own family, though. Kat walks into Alice's room, still dressed in her pajamas. She looks at a book she knows well. This is Alice in Wonderland, which she adored as a teenager. She picks it up and opens it to a page where she highlights a line she once highlighted. It's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then. Why was that highlighted, Kat thinks. She notices a note that Alice left. At farmer's market, Dell's call. As Kat gets closer to the farmer's market, she can't help but think of her adolescent self and her father Colton being there. They are distributing leaflets in an attempt to locate her missing younger brother, Jacob. Dell pushes Kat out of her recollection of his greeting. Dell is confronted by Kat regarding Alice being brought to the market while still grounded. Kat does not want Dell to get in the way of her parenting her kid. Rita and Alice observe each other's movements. Alice asks Rita to enlighten her on Jacob's true fate. Rita declines. Alice discovers where the Herald newspaper is located. She is greeted by Brian. She's prepared to crack the case on her own. Kat visits the tomb of her father. She meets Danny there, a cemetery worker who was Jacob's closest buddy growing up. He hesitates to say hello back, even as she wants to say hello. He leaves her alone and walks away. During their brief conversation, Kat discovers that Jacob's tombstone is adjacent to her father's. Kat looks astonished. She now knows that Dell views him as dead rather than absent. However, the Landrys must not give up. Dell has. Alice is back at the Herald with a mission. She looks through old newspaper stories to discover Jacob's fate. She notices the headlines: a local boy disappears. There are no leads for the police. Pictures of his bike with police tape around it are visible to her. Dell interrupts her as she tries to put the puzzle pieces together, telling her it's time to leave. Alice tells her she only needed to know and apologizes as they make their way back to the farm together. Beside the farm, they stop beside the White Cross. Dell draws attention to the fact that her husband passed away there, 3 months after Jacob vanished. Dell informs Alice that in just 3 months, she lost everything. Dell assures her that although she is entitled to know the truth, she should keep the information to herself once she does. Alice and Dell enter the kitchen, where Kat is seated at the table. She is curious as to why Dell chose to declare Jacob deceased. Kat hears Dell say it was time. Dell wrote Kat the letter after receiving his death certificate, but she never sent it. Dell informs Kat that a memorial service for Jacob was organized in advance of her arrival. Kat retreats inside the laundry barn for a little alone time. Elliot steps in. If he was aware of the memorial, Kat queries. She is still grieving over Jacob, a wound that has been made worse since coming home, and Elliot comforts her. Alice is at the kitchen table when Kat finds her later that evening. She is clearly disturbed by the happenings around the household because she is unable to sleep. Alice informs Kat that she wants to remain in Port Haven in order to spend more time with her family, especially those who have passed away. Kat smiles at this. While getting ready for the memorial, Dell enjoys nostalgic flashbacks with her son Jacob. Alice discovers a family heirloom on the coffee table in the interim. According to Kat, each time a family member was born, their name was added to the list, and the date of their passing was noted next to their name. Dell, Kat, Alice, Elliot, and Rita stand in the rain at the memorial. Dell holds a blue balloon and gives a touching eulogy. Upon finishing, she releases the balloon. Tears well up in the eyes of everyone watching it. While having a conversation with Brady on the porch, Kat informs him that staying in Port Haven is vital and she won't be leaving. Brady brings up the book contract with her. That doesn't deter her since she understands that family comes above her personal objectives at this time. Alice is about to jump from the edge of the pond, but Elliot stops her. She believes the pond will accept her this time and wants to meet Jacob. She jumps and he waits. He is ecstatic when she disappears. It's time to add Jacob's name to the family heirloom now that the memorial has taken place, but Dell finds it difficult to do so. She gets it done for her by Kat. They give each other a hug. 1999. Just in time to join the family for supper, Alice runs into Jacob and the teenager Kat. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't miss any updates.